Hi, I'm Kevin Clarke. I'm an associate editor for America Magazine. Last week we got some startling news out of Great Britain. The Chancellor of the Exchequer, George Osborne, announced dramatic budget cuts for a austerity budget that's going to run them through 2015 and hopefully reduce the British budget by about 19%. 130 billion American, 83 billion pounds is the reduction they're looking at. This is a rather dramatic turnaround for the British. Represents an austerity budget, the likes of which they haven't seen in decades. There will be substantial cuts in social welfare spending. The retirement age is being raised, and something like 400,000 or maybe perhaps 500,000 public sector jobs are going to be eliminated. So this is a substantial change. Now, whether or not you think this is a good idea, of course, in the macroeconomic circumstances we currently inhabit, a lot of people think it's a bad plan to go with an austerity budget as a nation is just emerging from the Great Recession. The Keynesians out there are still pushing for deficit spending to shore up the economy, the global economy. Britain is going the other way. But one thing I find most notable about the austerity budget they're discussing is that it does include a substantial reduction for the Ministry of Defense in Great Britain, a 6% reduction. And many programs will be cut. The number of soldiers in the British military will be cut. And it's become somewhat questionable how well the British are going to be able to project power into the future. But what's interesting here for our purposes is that the very fact of a defense cut at all, many of the same issues that the British are facing are the same that we face here in the United States, with a ever-increasing national debt and substantial annual budget deficits. A new Congress, which threatens to be a Republican Congress, may be coming in the next term, and the Republicans are saying that they are not going to pursue a policy of deficit spending to shore up the economy, that they're going to be looking at budget cuts. We're wondering if the British decision to already go with an austerity budget and to include a substantial reduction in defense is something that can set a precedent here for Americans to follow. Many decades of increasing defense spending, the budget has become somewhat of a sacrosanct entity for both parties. Very few people have the nerve to challenge the large, some might even say sinful defense budget, which by some estimates is more than $1 trillion next year. When you roll in the outright defense spending with Homeland Security, CIA, and interest servicing on past military spending, we get a figure somewhere just above $1 trillion. That's just about 50% of total discretionary spending in the United States for 2010 and 2011. So the question becomes, if we are going to be a nation that is going to go lean towards austerity in the future, is defense going to be on the chopping block as well? If we followed Britain's 19% reduction in government spending lead, we would have to reduce hundreds of thousands of federal jobs and cut the federal spending by $450 billion. It's hard to imagine we could do that without casting a much colder eye on the $1 trillion U.S. defense budget. I'm Kevin Clarke. This is America Magazine.